Okay guys, today I've got the Ringy mesh long underwear top. Okay, I tried to get long underwear top and bottom, but see, here's the label right there, Ringy, right? You can't see it. Okay, so there you go. It's right there. So as you can see, it's mesh. So they didn't have any bottoms. So I'm just doing the top right now just to show you. Okay. Had it about a week, been wearing it. I'm actually fairly comfortable right now, even though it's chilly in the house. As you guys know, as I've told you before, this house has almost no insulation. You know, it's old. It's over 200 years old. So what I would normally do is just put on the long underwear top and bottom, and then go ahead and start putting the rest of my clothing on. So I would normally put on, like, say, wool trousers, right? But right now I'm just going to put on these Carhartts canvas. So, and I've got the sandal out there. I've got the Mongolian wool socks on. So these are 100% sheep's wool. As you can see, they got little reindeer. Those are actually woven into the material. They actually have woven into the material on the bottom of the sock. It says made in Mongolia. So I'm going to go ahead and put these trousers on. So yeah, I am wearing shorts, right? Shorts for the video. Okay, so put these things on here. So this first layer is where the vapor comes off of your skin, and then the mesh allows it to move through without condensating up on a first layer of mid layer or a first layer of base layer, because most of your base layers that you buy are not knit. Well, they are knit, they're just not netting. Okay, they are very fine micro knit, like a shirt top, but made of some type of a wool or polypropylene or something like that, right? So in this case, this is a netting, okay, mesh, and it's made of 80% wool. So this allows that vapor from your sweat when you start to perspire to move through it and not hold it next to your skin as much as possible. And then it goes into your next layer, your mid layer, your knits. Okay, so what I have found works best with my everyday coat, right? So this is my everyday wool coat. Okay, that's the Woolrich Mackinaw that I showed you the other day. So this is my everyday wool coat. So I like to be, you know, still somewhat mobile. If you start adding too many layers underneath, then you start feeling all bulked up and it's hard to move, you know. So you have to find that comfortable balance, right? You get a comfortable balance between you and your everyday wool coat, and then if it becomes necessary, let's say you're on a trip and you have other wool layers like an anorak, you could throw the anorak on top of your wool coat, okay, on the outside, because an anorak is always your outer layer, okay. Now, so what I have here, what I've found works best is instead of two medium weight wool sweater / jumpers, instead of two of those, that's slightly constrictive, okay. But what I have here is this is a wool underwear top, okay. It's fairly thin, not too thin, but not too thick. It's made by Woolrich. It's an oldie. Anyway, this one is 80% wool. So what I do is I put that on. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and slip this on. So remember, wool on wool does not really want to work too well. So what you got to do is you got to get your arms in there first. Get your arms in there first. Alright. Get your arms in there. Okay. And then you can work the rest. This hole opening up here at the top is large enough I don't have to unbutton those buttons. Okay, so anyway, as you can see, it does not want to perfectly, line up on its own. You gotta like move it into position because it's wool on wool, right? Now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is tuck this in. Tuck in my regular wool underwear top. Now I've already worn this combo several times over the last week because the temperatures have dropped considerably. We had a lot of high wind for a while. For like a week we had high winds every single day. 24 hours the winds were howling. So I thought, well, I'll try this combo, and it worked out really well. So if you have a Mackinaw wool coat and you don't want to wear, let's say you don't want to wear a vest, you want to wear more something like this, because this is a knit underwear top. This right here is a Woolrich wool underwear top, and it's a knit. It's not as fine a knit as the base layers that you find on the market right now. It's not that fine. So when I hold it up, to the light, I can see a lot of little holes. So this is kind of in between having mesh and your regular sweater knit. Okay, it's in between those two. So it actually works out perfectly. So because you're going to a progressively smaller outlet for the vapor, okay, which is what we want, culminating in the Mackinaw wool, which is, it's basically windproof. So Mackinaw wool is a type of wool that they make the material, then they boil it. And when you boil wool, it shrinks it down real tight, and it makes it very, very, very tight knit, and then it's almost impervious to wind. And then if you get precipitation like rain or something, that just makes it tighten up more, because the wool swells a little bit, and it also kind of holds it, and it doesn't allow any more in. Then you're, yeah. So anyway, same thing with this. We want to take this medium weight wool jumper, sweater. We want to get our arms sorted first. Get our arms sorted first. We get our arms sorted, and then we can go from there. All right. Just kind of some final tidying up here. It may seem like a lot to do just to go outside in the cold, but if you're going to be out there, especially for a good while, all day, all night, something like that, you know, it is what it is. Take a few minutes, do it right the first time, and then you will not suffer later. Because if you just hurry up and you just try to hurry up and get it done, don't pay any attention to details, you're probably going to end up suffering, which is something that you don't want. Right? Wool watch cap. So it's 100% wool watch cap made here in the U.S. Yeah. Yep, this one's made in the U.S. I've got another one's made in France. And I got, actually I got 2 U.S. and 1 French. Alright, so, of course, then your outer layer. And I like to pull the ends of my knit layer through the end there. Make sure I get good coverage in my wrist area, and then of course button it up, right? So when we look at the buttons on a coat like this as well, I just want to throw this in as a last as the last thing for you to think about, is we notice that if I pull back this cover here, well, hard to see, but these buttonholes go horizontal, left to right. So when I button this button, what I do is I'll generally just kind of gently lift the bottom of the button, and then I will slide it into the slot. Okay, so I slide it into the slot, the bottom of the button, I slide it into the slot facing down, and then I will just push it down through until it's in. And then what I like about horizontal slots for your buttons is that you could just gently pull the 2 sides of the opening of the coat towards the opposite directions, and that button will slide over as far as it can into that slot and pretty much lock into position. Okay, and then you won't have that issue of your button accidentally coming unbuttoned. You see what I'm saying? So if you kind of lock it into position, then you won't have that issue. Feeling nice and toasty now. So, yeah. So we got about a minute left, but I wanted to bring you the mesh long underwear. I don't have the bottoms right now. They're out of stock, and they said that they'll let me know when they get them in. I order directly from Norway. I don't mess around with distributors. So if you order the long underwear, the mesh long underwear, wool, I would get them direct from Norway. That's just my opinion. They come very fast as well. A couple days you got them. Alright? So, feeling nice and toasty right now. I was outside working for a bit. So now get my cruddy clothes off, get some nice clothes on and warm up. And see you later.